3 running backs that are sleepers to finish with top 10 seasons. Now, we're not going to say, oh, Josh Jacobs or DeAndre Swift, these good players who are in good situations to have good seasons. No, some players you probably aren't thinking of that you can get relatively cheap that have a good top 10 season upside. These aren't top 10 dynasty running backs, but for one season can give you top 10 production if everything goes well. Number 1, Miles Sanders, traded from the Eagles to the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers have no weapons on offense. They have Bryce Young, Jonathan Mingo, who I'm not convinced is good at all, and I don't think many people in the fantasy community are too impressed with him. No disrespect, Jonathan Mingo, but Jonathan Mingo is really their primary weapon as far as connections with Bryce Young. Yeah, they have some veterans in the wide receiving core, but not a lot to get excited about. Miles Sanders is their offense now. Miles Sanders, I would not be surprised to see him in the top 10 of running backs in the season. The amount of carries he's going to get just based off of no one else to give the ball to that is effective or proven in the NFL. Now, will they be down a lot of their games? Probably. Will that limit the amount of rushes he'll get? Yeah, but I mean, I don't think 15, 18, 20 touches a game is outside the realm of possibilities for Miles Sanders. If you're in a points per carry league, Miles Sanders should be an absolute buy. I guarantee you he will way outproduce the cost it will cost to get him currently. Now, don't wait until September, October to do this. The price will be way up, even if it's only for one season. Go buy Miles Sanders. Next, I know a lot of people have talked about this guy. This will maybe seem not as obvious, but Samaje Perine. He'll probably be the cheapest of the 3 I'm going to mention today. But Samaje Perine is a buy. You have to buy. The running backs he's competing with in that backfield are just not impressive. Some higher draft capital in his running backs he's competing with, sure. But considering what he showed in Cincinnati when Joe Mixon wasn't there, I believe he had 3 games with 20 points where Joe Mixon didn't play. That's in like standard scoring. That's pretty good. He's getting older for sure, so you're not going to want to build your team around Samaje Perine at all. But if you can get Samaje Perine at a reasonable cost, I think he will give you many weeks as a valuable running back that you will want to start. And if your team is not effective, as long as your league doesn't have a trade deadline, a contender will probably want to trade for Samaje Perine just to give them a little bit of cushion if they're going to need some depth heading into their fantasy playoffs. So to me, that's a win-win with Samaje Perine. Cam Akers is the third one. Now, everybody said this last year with Cam Akers, go get Cam Akers, go get Cam Akers. And then the Rams come out week 1 and Sean McVay acts like Cam Akers didn't get on the team bus to go to the stadium, which was bizarre. But by the end of the year, Cam Akers had, for whatever reason, earned his starting running back position back and was getting a multitude of carries. Again, that offense, not great, but Matthew Stafford, as long as he is average and not horrendous like he was last year, should open up the ability. People have to respect the passing game. Cooper Kupp is no bum, so they will have to pay attention to Cooper Kupp more than Cam Akers in the rushing game. So I expect that to open up many opportunities for Cam Akers, both receiving and rushing, to get you multiple points, multiple weeks of top 15 in running back upside, as well as finishing the season as a top 10 running back if all goes well. Now with the Rams, especially Sean McVay, you don't really know what to expect. So there's probably the most risk with Cam Akers at his current price of these 3. But with that said, I think he also has the most upside considering his age and talent that we've seen when he's played full games and had good games. So those are the 3 you should target immediately that can give you top 10 running back upside if all goes well. Now, don't overpay for these running backs. If somebody's seen videos with these running backs in them or they're up to date on their stuff, they're probably going to want a top dollar price for these running backs. Don't do that. But if you can get Cam Akers or Samaje Perine or Miles Sanders at a reasonable cost, even a fair value now, smash the trade, go for it, and I think you'll be happy come December.